Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am so glad you're joining me today because we're tackling something absolutely crucial. We're going to unpack some of the most critical emergency preparedness protocols out there. Today's explainer draws straight from the official Oregon Department of Public Safety Standards and Training Manual, and we're really focusing in on current trends regarding active threats and active shooters. My goal today is to give you a steady, highly structured look at this life-saving information. We're basically taking a really chaotic, terrifying topic and breaking it down so that you are fully empowered with the knowledge you need. So I want you to picture this for a second. You're at work, maybe at a mall or catching a concert, and the unthinkable happens. How would you react in an imminent crisis? It's a really heavy question, right? But the harsh reality of current trends is that we literally cannot predict when or where a crisis is going to unfold. But here's the empowering part. We absolutely can control how prepared we are to respond to it. Survival almost always comes down to having a mental blueprint already locked in place long before the chaos actually begins. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. Defining an active threat, the active shooter profile, run, hide, fight, calling emergency services, and finally, what to do when law enforcement arrives. Section 1. Defining an active threat. It's really vital that we ground our understanding of what we're actually talking about here. According to our source material, an active threat is defined as any incident that, by its deliberate nature, creates an immediate threat or presents imminent danger to the community. You really want to notice those words, deliberate nature, right? This isn't an accident, it's not a natural disaster, it's a purposeful act intended to cause harm. And because of the sheer scale and immediate danger of these incidents, they almost always require a massive, highly coordinated response from multiple law enforcement agencies. Just to give you an idea of the sheer scope here, an active threat isn't just one single thing. Examples can include an active shooter, a hostage or barricaded subject, a sniper, a suicide or homicide bomber, or even a suspected terrorist threat involving bio or chemical agents. It's a really broad category of absolute worst-case emergencies, and the golden rule for every single one of them is that if an active threat happens anywhere near you, it needs to be reported immediately through 911. But, and this is key, only do that as soon as it is actually safe for you to do so. Moving on to Section 2, the active shooter profile. Let's see how all this builds into the specific profile of an active shooter, which unfortunately is one of the most pressing current trends we're dealing with today. Our manual gives us a very specific definition. An active shooter is an individual actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area, typically using firearms. What's especially chilling about this profile is that while the shooter generally has a specific target in mind, random victims very often become collateral damage. It is a situation of maximum danger for anyone in that vicinity. The defining nature of these events is that they are entirely unpredictable, and they evolve incredibly quickly. They spread like wildfire. The training manual makes a super strong point here, especially for unarmed security professionals, but it honestly applies to all of us, everyday citizens. You do not have the tools, the equipment, or the training to engage or stop a shooter. Law enforcement is absolutely required to end this. Your primary, singular job is your own survival. Section 3, run, hide, fight. All right, this is where we shift into high gear. If your employer doesn't have a specific policy or you're just out in public living your life, these are the empowering, actionable options you have got to consider to keep yourself alive. The protocol is broken down methodically into 3 distinct steps. Step 1 is run, Step 2 is hide, Step 3 is fight. Now, you don't necessarily have to do all 3 in order. Think of them as a hierarchy of options to quickly evaluate based on your immediate surroundings when an active shooter is nearby. Let's break down that first, and honestly, your very best option, run. If there's an accessible escape path, get out of there. You should always try to have a basic escape route in mind wherever you go. But here's where you have to overcome a major psychological hurdle. Leave your belongings behind. Material things do not matter in this moment. Do not waste precious seconds grabbing a laptop or a purse. And further, as you're running, keep your hands totally visible. This is absolutely crucial so that when you run into responding police, they instantly know you're unarmed and not the threat. Now, if running just isn't a safe option, your next best choice is to hide. Find an area completely out of the shooter's view. If you're in an office or a room, stay there, lock the doors, and block the entry. Barricade it with literally whatever heavy furniture you can find. So the crucial point is this next detail. Silence your cell phone, not just on vibrate, but completely, 100% silent. The absolute last thing you want is a buzzing phone giving away your secured position. Finally, we come to option 3, fight. I want to be crystal clear about this based on the manual. This is only to be used as an absolute last resort, and only when your life is in imminent, immediate danger. If you're cornered and you literally have no other choice, you must attempt to incapacitate the shooter. You have to act with extreme physical aggression. Throw items, chairs, fire extinguishers, anything heavy you can get your hands on. It is a fight for your life, and you have to commit to it entirely. Section 4. Calling emergency services. Okay, so this is the aftermath phase. You've successfully run away, or you're safely hidden behind a barricaded door, and it's finally safe to act. When you call 911, you need to give them very specific information. The call taker needs this exact mental checklist to dispatch help effectively. Do your best to stay calm and tell them the exact location of the shooter, the number of shooters if there's more than one, physical descriptions, and remember, try to describe them from the head down to the shoes if you can, the number and type of weapons they have, and lastly, the number of potential victims there. This intelligence is a total game changer for arriving public safety officers. Section 5. When law enforcement arrives. The cavalry is here, right? But the situation is still incredibly volatile. How you physically behave when law enforcement breaches the building is literally a matter of life and death. You have to know the difference between safe and dangerous behaviors here. For your own safety, you must remain calm. Put down any items in your hands. Drop the bags, the jackets, your phone. Raise your hands up high, spread your fingers wide, and keep those hands visible at all times. On the flip side, do not make quick movements toward the officers. Do not try to hold on to them for safety, do not point, do not scream, and do not yell. These officers are entering a highly lethal, stressful environment. You cannot do anything that might be misinterpreted as a threat. And building on that, the manual includes this super specific instruction. Do not stop to ask officers for help or directions when you're evacuating. The first responding officers are not there to tend to the wounded, and they aren't there to be your tour guide out of the building. Their one and only objective is to push forward, locate and neutralize the threat. You just need to keep moving out the way you came, follow any shotted instructions, and get completely clear of the area. Just a quick note, everything we've unpacked in this explainer comes straight from the official Oregon Department of Public Safety Standards and Training Unarmed Private Security Professional Training Manual. This is vetted, standardized, life-saving protocol designed to make sure that private security and public safety are all speaking the exact same language when things go wrong. I really want to leave you with a direct quote from the text. Emergency preparedness is everyone's concern. We obviously rely heavily on our incredibly brave law enforcement and public safety pros, but when an unpredictable crisis strikes, your survival initially rests entirely in your own hands. Your readiness is, without doubt, your absolute best defense. So let's bring it all back to where we started, but this time with a bit of a challenge. Now that you know the options, are you prepared to safely react? I highly encourage you to mentally run through these steps. Run, hide, fight. Start taking note of the exits wherever you happen to go, keep your head on a swivel, remain aware of your surroundings, and stay safe out there. Thanks for learning with me today.